Hey, are you thinking about moving to the outskirts of Richmond, Virginia? Well, we're going to talk about these subdivisions that has an HOA. So let's go. If this is your first time to my channel, stop what you're doing, hit that bell button and like the video so I can alert you with more videos like this in the future. Okay, we're gonna talk about HOAs today. I cannot make this story up if I tried. Right before I came out here to shoot this video, I get a phone call from a lady, a very nice lady, and she wants some help in selling and making a transition to her brand new home. And she said, I don't want any HOAs. The subdivision I was looking at, she said I was sold over the simple fact they don't have an HOA. And I was like, wow. So I was very interested to hear what she had to say because she lives in a condo right now. And the HOA prices right now is around $3 something, it's about to go to $380, it's going up. So that's one thing people don't like. They can raise your HOAs, definitely in a condo setting, some of your townhouse settings, and then some of those close neighborhoods where they do your grass for you. You got the trash that's being done for you, snow removal. Yeah, they usually give you some type of swimming pool, exercising place, tennis court, those different recreational things that comes with those type of HOAs. It just varies. Price points are always super different. Like I said, the one that this lady had was in the 300 range. I know of some, it could range from anywhere from $300 to $700 a month for them to take care of your yard and all those maintenance. So that's usually a deterrent for some people when it comes to HOA. And then you have to remember when it comes to HOAs and being approved for a home, the lender a lot of times want to know what are those HOA fees. See, because a lender can pre-approve you for, let's just say $500,000, but if you have high HOAs, it might bring that purchase price that you can afford lower because they got to factor in the prices of the HOA fees. So always keep that in mind. Let your lender know that you're looking at a property with HOAs, okay? But some people just don't want them. I have a family who's moving from out of state, nice family. We've been searching, we're close. We're going to get something from YouTube. Same thing with the other lady with the condo, YouTube. So please feel free to reach out to me at any time. If you have any questions about any neighborhoods, HOAs, whatever you want to know about anything in the Richmond area or in Richmond, give me a call so that I can help you guys out, okay? I really enjoy doing this and I really love helping people, and we've been having great results. We're having a real good time out here. And like I said, go back to these HOAs. I have one family, they're moving from out of state and they said the same thing. I don't want HOAs. We're used to being way in the country. We're not used to people telling us what to do. We don't want any HOA. So some people feel about certain way about a HOA, okay? But I really want to dive into these different subdivisions when it comes to HOA. Don't be so quick to scratch it off all the time, okay? The reason I say that because all HOAs are treated different. All HOAs are different. When the Homeowners Association usually gets together before a subdivision is built, they have a certain vision on how they want that area. They look at that area and say, okay, we want to make sure we have these laws in play because we don't want this to happen, we don't want this, and we want this. We want this community to be very uniform, okay? So that's why they usually have a certain vision. They come up with these HOAs. All HOAs are not the same. I'll give you an example. The fence you see behind me, this neighborhood will allow me to do this, okay? A 6-foot privacy wooden fence, right? Now, if you go right down the street, another neighborhood would not allow any wood fences at all. A lot of times they say it's not kept well and it might look a certain way in years. Whatever their reason, they say no, wooden fences. Then they may tell you can't go over a certain height. You can say, okay, you can have a nice picket iron fence, but you can't go over 4 foot. Or you can get a 6 foot. Depends on the subdivision. Some subdivisions tell you you can't have a boat in your yard. I sold a family a house and they say, hey, we welcome boats. You can bring your boat because there's a lake right down the street that they want you to go to. Some places, no RV. You can't put your RV in the yard. Understandable, just depends. And then some subdivisions that give you a whole acre lots, they'd say, we don't care if you have an RV in your yard. So it just really depends on different scenarios. So many HOAs are different. I saw one HOA which was very interesting. In the HOA, it stated that you cannot have a certain breed of dog. There was 2 of them, I believe. So it was one family that had this house under contract, but they had that type of breed of dog, so they had to get out of the contract. And then my family jumped right in and they purchased the house because they didn't have that type of dog. So I'm gonna bring this up to you right now too. In Virginia, the contracts that we use, you have a certain period of time to do your due diligence to check out the HOA before you purchase. So don't be scared to put an offer on a house, because they're going to give you a certain amount of time to look it over, like 3 days, to look it over, to see if it fits you and your family needs, and then you can tell them to move forward. I did have a family, they looked at the HOAs and they was like, this is not gonna work for us right here. They had to back out. Fortunately, I had another family though, who bought the same house. They're happy in this house today and things are going very well. So it just depends on what you find in HOAs. All HOAs are different. Now, if you're gonna be the type of person who's picky about what your neighbors are doing, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're driving home one day and your neighbor is painting their house purple or pink or some kind of crazy color, right? And you might say it's ugly. But as long as they're not breaking the county rules, they're allowed to do it. Maybe you're picky about people parking in the grass in the yard. You might not like that, right? There's so many different things. If you feel like you're picky about certain things, then you might need some type of HOA to keep that uniform, okay, going. Another thing I think of with HOA, your trash can. You can't have your trash can visible from the street. So it has to be behind a yard or behind some type of fence. I've seen that one. One time I know someone who wanted to plant a garden and you can see that garden from the street and they told them no. If you put a fence up, then okay. Now be careful with HOAs too if you're a homeowner when it's time to sell. If you're doing something against what HOA is saying and they can't see it maybe, but when it comes down to selling your home, they're gonna check to see if you're in compliance. And if you're not, they're gonna write you a letter and tell you you need to be in compliance before you sell your home. Or this same violation is gonna fall on the buyer. So usually they're gonna send someone from the HOA to check out your house before you sell it with most HOAs. Some HOAs are very lenient. Sometimes they might have an HOA and the only thing the HOA is doing is saying, hey, we just wanna keep up with this entrance part. And that's about it. It could be like $100 a year for the HOA, but it's still HOA, and the only thing they're doing is keeping up with the entrance. So it really depends. I'll give you another good scenario. I knew someone who was building a fence around their yard, and it looked horrible. The way they was doing it, it did look bad. But the HOA stopped them and said, hey, you can't do this. So that's a good scenario, it just depends. But if you don't care what your neighbor's doing, that's fine. I knew one lady was mad because she said her neighbor was building a barn in the backyard. She said it was ugly, but if he's in compliance with the county, I mean, hey, what can you do, right? Now, there's been many times personally I got a little frustrated with the HOA. I had a shutter that fell off my house, and I didn't have a ladder to get to that part of my house, so it stayed down for a little while. They sent me a letter and said I need to put the shutter back up. Okay, if your house need to be power washed, they're gonna let you know you need to power wash your house. If your mailbox post is not painted a certain color, they're gonna send you a letter and say, hey, you need to paint your mailbox this color. Go to Sherwin-Williams and ask them for this color code, you need to paint your mailbox. Some people don't want that. Some people get frustrated with it. And like I said, these price points vary. It can be, the $300 to $700 range a month. In my area, it's roughly $200 some a quarter. So you need to keep an eye on that too when you're looking at the features. And it usually shows in the MLS if it has an HOA, and it's either going to be monthly, quarterly, or yearly. And look out for that additional HOA, because some have additional HOAs tied in with it. Some HOAs say no company vehicles. If you work for a certain company and you usually drive their work truck home, they might say you can't park it in the yard. Some HOAs tell you you can't park on the street overnight. It just depends. I've seen so many different HOAs, and I could go on about HOAs for a while, but I kind of want you guys to really understand and what to expect when it comes to HOAs. Just don't cross it out so fast, because it might fit what you need, and you do have a chance to do your due diligence to see if that offer, that contract will work for you with the HOA. So, like I always say, I don't care if you're thinking about moving next week, next month, or next year. Please reach out to me and my team, because we'd love to help you make that smooth move to the Richmond, Virginia area.